what's happening, everyone? It is I, the man, the myth, the mustache, Tim here, and I've got a brand new video for you. Welcome to part 3 of What If Deku Had an Esper Quirk? I just wanted to stop by, say hello, hi, and how you doing? Sit down, relax, because you're in for a treat. Now with that little intro out of the way, let's get into this story, shall we? The air in Class 1A had a concentrated tension between Todoroki and Midoriya. Midoriya could feel the cold look shot at him occasionally from the other student, actual chills running down his spine. Bakugo was both exasperated and amused at the outcome of his friend's tendency of studying people and not knowing when he was pushing boundaries. He knew, of course, that Midoriya wasn't done learning about the Son of Endeavor. Once another one of his theories popped into his mind, it never seemed to leave. Bakugo reminded himself that the freckled boy was going to owe him big time during the oncoming disaster. Midoriya was still conflicted over what he may have discovered yesterday. The thought of a hero harming their child was unbelievable. It would be complete social suicide to just ask about the hero hurting a fly. If he wanted to discover the cause of his heterochromatic classmate's reaction, he would have to sit back and collect information. Luckily, that was one of Midoriya's favorite pastimes. One that he would be doing for quite some time if he wanted any evidence. Midoriya mentally filed away his plan to bring up when needed. He was smart enough to realize he shouldn't pour every ounce of his concentration into it. Not if he wanted Bakugo to not make his life miserable. Most of the day was spent idly in class. Midoriya found a majority of the subjects taught trivial. This caught the attention of Ida, who immediately questioned his lack of attention. With all due respect to the teachers, these classes are child's play to me. He shrugged, ignoring the attention his classmates were giving him. Due to my quirk, my brain runs on a far higher level than most other humans. I could be considered to be on the same playing field as a hyper-complex computational system. Oh yeah? Then, what's the distance between us and the sun? Divided by 25! Kaminari spoke up, clearly struggling to try and come up with a good question. Around 5,983,914.8 kilometers. That, of course, isn't guaranteed to be the exact distance right now, but due to the elliptical orbit of the Earth around the Sun, it's as accurate as possible. Everyone blinked at the answer, shocked at how quickly it came. Their reaction was cemented as they checked themselves, finding him correct. Dude, you're scary. Nah, he's just a damn brainiac with a lack of common sense. Midoriya's eyes narrowed as they looked over to Bakugo, who spoke. I can't count how many times I've saved this idiot's ass from pushing someone too far. The same goes for how many times I've kept you out of detention when your temper threatened to explode. Oh wait, now I remember. 157 times, Kacchan. 157. A tick appeared above Crimson Eyes as Bakugo yelled for his friend to shut up. Midoriya only chuckled and rolled his eyes, going back to his idle thoughts. Midoriya was ecstatic as they finally arrived at their final period, where they would be working on practical hero skills. He couldn't wait for a class that would really challenge his abilities and intellect. The telekinetic teen only grew more excited as he learned that All Might himself was going to be teaching them. He hung on to every word of the pro as he gave a speech to the class, before finally revealing that the hero costumes they had designed were hidden within the walls for them to use in the exercise that day. Midoriya grabbed hold of his own case with his quirk and dashed to the changing rooms to get into his outfit. The freckled adolescent emerged into a faux cityscape, similar to the one from the practical portion of the UA entrance exam. He was dressed in a black and green outfit with a hood attached to the back, and a pair of black fingerless gloves. On his head was a pair of goggles that were completely opaque on the outside, disguising the glow of his eyes when he used his quirk. He looked over to his blonde companion, eyes zeroing in on grenade-shaped gauntlets around his wrists. The teenage genius knew his friend wouldn't commission such bulky things to put around his arms unless they had a specific purpose, making him narrow his eyes at his trigger-happy friend. Kacchan, what are you planning with those gauntlets? I'm not telling. You'll have to see for yourself, Brainiac. Can you please tell me that they won't end up horribly maiming any of our classmates? His eye twitched at his friend's hesitation. You know what? Forget I asked. Midoriya rubbed his temple, feeling a headache coming on without even using his quirk. He looked up to their teacher as All Might caught their attention and explained the assignment. A faux heroes versus villains battle trial. All Might pulled out a box that the students would draw lots from so they could be teamed together. Midoriya drew his lot, being paired up with a rather awkward partner, Todoroki. The emerald-eyed teen winced as he heard he was going up against Bakugo and his not-so-hidden weapons. All Might decided that the villain team would be Bakugo and his partner, Ida, allowing them to go to where a bomb had been placed for them to guard. Midoriya visibly gulped when he heard his best friend ask how much they were allowed to harm their opponents. He groaned as All Might said they would simply be watching to make sure that the students wouldn't go too far, knowing that his headstrong companion would not listen to whatever they had to say. As the opponents entered the building, Midoriya spun around to look at Todoroki. "I apologize for yesterday, Todoroki. I obviously brought up something that you didn't want to think about, let alone hear about. I hope that my blunder does not impede our teamwork." He met the scrutinizing gaze of dual-colored eyes, anxiously waiting for a response. "It's all right. I reacted very inappropriately yesterday. I should have kept my cool better." The son of Endeavor bowed his head slightly, accepting the apology and clearing away most of the awkwardness in the air. Both boys snapped themselves towards the building as they heard a booming voice call for them to begin. A cold hand was placed on the hooded boy's shoulder as he was ready to take off. "Please, allow me to do something first." The heterochromatic student walked up to the side of the building, splaying his hand out across the wall. A loud crackle echoed as mounds of ice and frost crystallized along the surface, piercing through plaster, wood, and steel to invade their foe's hiding place. He extracted his hand from its spot, gesturing to the door. "I believe that our opponents have been taken care of." "You'd think that, but you're not Kacchan's childhood friend." Suddenly, a roar of anger echoed from the building. By the sound of it, he's just upset. The sounds of explosions and shattering of ice came from within, descending closer to the two. The jungle-haired Esper ran towards the door, pulling his goggles into place. "I would stay on the defensive if I were you. Kacchan has something up his sleeve, and whatever it is, it's not beneficial to us." He received a curt nod as they both finally entered the structure. The sound of constant detonations and breaking of ice continued to grow in volume as a very angry hero in training forced his way towards his opponents. "When he finally gets down here, I'll try to force him out of the way to the next floor so you can go ahead. Your ice will just end up being turned to shrapnel for him to use against us. Ida should be a better matchup for you." Midoriya looked at his teammate, who nodded in agreement, before hiding against a nearby wall, trusting his genius partner to get the job done. A rain of icy shards flew towards the telekinetic adolescent, who formed a psychic barrier, forcing them to all break apart and ricochet away. A burning look was placed upon him as Bakugo finally came face to face with him. "Where's that damn partner of yours, Brainiac? I'm gonna kill him for trying that spineless crap with me!" The Esper was unimpressed with his friend's rage. He simply looked at the ashen blonde boy and grabbed hold of him with his mind, before slamming him into the wall. "Now, Todoroki!" A wave of ice crashed into the blonde before Todoroki took off towards the next floor. "What the hell? How'd you do that, Brainiac? Your quirk makes your eyes glow when—" "Those goggles block the glow, don't they?" Bakugo growled as explosions ripped apart his icy bindings. His opponent telekinetically redirecting the shrapnel. "Nice gadget. I hope you're ready to see mine." Bakugo slammed his palm to the frozen floor, sending more debris at Midoriya, forcing him on the defensive. The goggled boy continued to deflect and redirect all the attacks against him. A headache began to form at the front of his head. "Do something already!" Bakugo unleashed a much bigger blast that threw Midoriya away with its power. He grunted as he skittered across the floor, using the momentum to flip himself onto his feet. "That blast was much more powerful than your normal ones, Kacchan. I'm guessing that's the point of your gauntlets?" "Damn nerd! Can't even let me explain my own gear!" Bakugo huffed and let loose another series of explosions to the freckled boy. "My gauntlets act as a storage, allowing me to store my sweat to create even bigger blasts than what I've been able to make." A small amount of panic entered the teen genius's gut, realizing how bad this fight could turn out if things didn't end soon. He threw out capture tape, using his mind to guide it around the blonde's leg so he could nullify the threat, only to go on the defensive again as an explosion blew it away, sending more debris at him. "You know, Brainiac, there isn't a limit to how much I can use at once either. Making me chase you around really made me work up a sweat." A sadistic grin stretched across Bakugo's face. How about I show you how big of an explosion I can make when I use it all at once? Bakugo, don't you dare! That could actually kill me! The voice of All Might came through the intercom, agreeing with the words of Midoriya. Both of the protests were dismissed by the hot-tempered teen. That's not gonna stop me. Get ready, Midoriya! He roared as he thrust his hands forward. A humongous explosion raced towards the emerald-eyed Esper. Midoriya's eyes widened as he focused on the roof and floors above him, focusing on bringing them down, his headache growing exponentially as he collapsed several floors of the building to get in the way of the blast, before creating the strongest psychic barrier he could. The force and heat of the detonation strained the shield and nearly incinerated the rubble. As the explosion finally ended, Midoriya was heaving breaths as he fell to his knees. A horrible migraine was making his head throb. He screamed in pain as a loud buzzer and declaration that they had won only made it worse. While furious that he lost, Bakugo was far more concerned with his friend, realizing he was in immense pain. He went to his side, putting one of the telekinetic boy's arms over his shoulder to help him out. Kachan, you owe me so much after this. The shaky voice of Midoriya was followed by an elbow to his friend's side. Yeah, whatever. The stubborn teen hesitated as he rubbed his ribs before sighing. Sorry, Midoriya. I shouldn't have used that against you like that. You could have actually gotten really hurt. Keep that in mind next time, or you'll be out of a training partner. Midoriya's response made his friend bark out a laugh as they exited the building, All Might already waiting for them outside. He instantly began to lecture the explosive student for his recklessness during the trial, the spiel lasting long enough for Todoroki and Ida to exit the building. The pro turned to Midoriya, questioning if he needed to stay at the infirmary. I'll be fine. I just need some headache medicine. And some soundproof headphones. Loud noises are going to be the bane of my existence for a while. Relief filled the symbol of peace, seeing how his student was still well enough to joke around. After a quick trip to Recovery Girl and the classroom to retrieve the headphones that he kept in his bag, due to past incidents where he overused his quirk, Midoriya made his way back to watch the last of the matches. Everything else passed rather quickly, none quite reaching the level of ridiculousness that the first match did. The number one hero commended them all for their efforts in the trial, allowing them to get changed and head home. As Bakugo and Midoriya left the building, they were stopped suddenly by Todoroki. I must commend you in your assistance in the exercise today, Midoriya. You were an invaluable asset. The dual-colored teen nodded to Midoriya. I hope that next time we have an opportunity to test our skills against each other. The son of Endeavor nodded his head to Bakugo before heading off to his own home. Bakugo glared at his candy cane classmate, still holding a grudge over being frozen. Twice. What is it, Kachan? Are you mad he turned you into a popsicle? The jungle-haired teenager teased his friend, earning a yell that made him clutch his head again. The hot-tempered boy sighed and muttered an apology, helping his friend home. I hope you know this doesn't cover how much you owe me for that stunt today. He gave a half-hearted glare at his crimson-eyed companion. Yeah, whatever, Brainiac. Bakugo hid the fond smile on his face as they parted ways. And that's our video, so thank you all for sticking around, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. Before I go, just a little bit of housekeeping. First, I want you to know that We the Celestials has many other channels for your entertainment and viewing purposes. All the information you'll need is right below in the description, so please feel free to check out all the other incredible projects and content that our team creates. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I want to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details will be in the description below. And that's it for today's video, so thank you all for watching, and I do hope you have a fantastic day. And as always, please, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and stay awesome. This has been Tim. Mustache out!